And good morning to you. Welcome inside the bottom line. Little technical problems here, but we finally got it together. I'm joined on the phone by my good friend Juju Phillips. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, Lanny, good morning. Always a pleasure to join you, man.
We'll get the video thing worked out. I don't know why that's not working, but I'll figure it out. Just need a little time, and I'll get that done. But I appreciate you joining me this morning. Talk a little Lenore Ryan football. And last time we talked to you, we talked about your new position, but let's talk Lenore Ryan football. The season's off, 2 games under your belt. Is that correct?
Yeah, Bears are 1-1, Lanny. They lost on the road at number 7 or number 8 ranked West Florida, and then came back and won their first game of the season last week, another road game. They won at Tusculum over in Tennessee, and did so impressively with a 28-7 win. So they're now 1-1 on the season. Head coach Doug Sosha and crew getting a little bit better, improving is what you want to do, and because they got their first ever home game coming up this year, first night game in a while as well, as they kick it off between the Bricks at 6 o'clock on Saturday as they play host to Emory and Henry, as the Bears are now 1-0 in the South Atlantic Conference, but I think showed some improvement last week from that loss in week number 1.
You know, if you're going to take one on the chin, taking one on the chin from a number 8 team in the nation's not that bad. You think, are there good losses? Well, taking a loss from somebody that's winless is one thing, but taking a loss from a team like West Florida is different.
It is, but I don't think the Bears really showed their best. I don't think they played their very best as well. Got behind, I think it was 31-0 in the first half, scored a touchdown late in the first half to cut the margin. Got some momentum in the third quarter, got it to within a couple of touchdowns or so, and they had a chance, but some turnovers, some misplays on special teams. They could just not overcome a 31-point deficit early on in that football game. So that was the learning experience. They came back last week and played a team that runs more of a triple option style in Tusculum, and they shut them down pretty much, held them out of the end zone defensively. Tusculum scored on an interception for return. But the Bears' offense came alive. They had 4 touchdown passes and played pretty well, played a lot better than they did in week 1 as they get ready for now game 3 coming up between the Bricks, and home fans will get a chance to see them for the first time this year.
And that's important. Get back home and get a game under your belt there. I think that's important as well. What seems to be the standout things for you this season with the Bears?
A lot of new faces, for one, trying to come together. They're still trying to rebuild an offensive line that last year could not really run the football with consistency or effectiveness. They have come back this year, though. In the first game against West Florida, didn't run the ball all that effectively. Last week, they did much better. They combined for about 160-some yards rushing. They got 2 really good running backs and kind of split the time with each other. They each had about 60 yards rushing, so they did a much better job there. I think they have some weapons on the outside at wide receiver. And their quarterback only playing in 2 games as a varsity quarterback, if you want to call it varsity, as a starter in college, and he's thrown for almost 300 yards per game and 6 touchdowns in 2 games. So that's been a bright spot, the passing attack. But they still want to run the ball, keep their defense off the field, and so far that has not happened with the kind of consistency that they would have liked. And that defense, in that first week, they gave up a bunch of yardage early on, and I think that's with a bunch of new faces on defense. It just takes a while for them to play with each other and recognize each other's strengths and weaknesses. They did a much better job last week against a team that was running a wishbone or triple option. They kept them out of the end zone, so to speak, and they were the nation's leading rushing attack, speaking of Tusculum. So this week, a little bit different challenge. Emory and Henry runs a more run-pass option, more traditional kind of spread offense that you see around in college football. So the Bears hope to maybe play their best game of the season in front of the home crowd this Saturday.
Now, is this second season for Coach Sosha?
It is. His second season, 10-3 a year ago, made the playoffs. But, you know, the fan expectations here is to make a run in the playoffs like they did in 2023, and I think that's what the expectation is for him and his staff as well.
You know, when you look at it, we see so much when you talk Division I football about the transfer portal and players moving around. Is it as prevalent in Division II, and has Lenore Ryan utilized that or maybe had some of their players picked up through the portal?
they've had some players that went into the portal and got moved up. There's a crazy rule out there by the NCAA that you can exhaust your Division II eligibility, but if you played at a junior college earlier in your career, you transfer to a Division II school, they'll give you one extra year of eligibility only at a Division I school. So LR had a couple of players. One of them went to Appalachian State. They've had a couple of other wide receivers playing down at Mercer. One's playing in Northern Illinois. So they've had a few of their skill players move on and move up. The Bears acquired about 20 to 25 players in the portal. And we've seen in the first couple of games, Landy, at least from the opposition, West Florida had a number. They had over 30. And I think Tusculum had they were in the teens. So every team's just taking advantage, if you can, of the transfer portal. And we're seeing it more and more, it seems like, the last couple of years. It's not necessarily been the number one recruiting tool, but it certainly has tried to enhance the rosters of many teams.
Well, and here's the thing, Juju. I think, for me, the whole portal thing is about mobility for the players to be able to move up to different levels, continue their career. And then the second point is for the teams themselves to be able to fill in spaces that maybe from a recruiting standpoint did not work out as they thought. That's one thing that I've noticed in watching college football with Division I and listening to the commentary is how many teams have been able to take holes that they had in their roster that they didn't quite – maybe they missed on a kid, but they've been able to fill it with some transfer portal kids. That just makes more stability for the team. Now, some people don't like it because you're taking spots. Well, here's the deal. You got to be competitive, period.
Oh, yeah. I think from a standpoint of roster building, you're getting players that are a little bit older. They're a little bit more experienced, and it may take a while for them to mesh with the rest of the team as opposed to somebody that's 18 or 19 years old, not necessarily physically developed as much as in the past as a veteran player. You have guys out there that are playing in their, early to mid-20s now. And you take somebody like that for maybe a year over somebody that you're not sure will develop into that. So, that is kind of the roll of the dice, so to speak. I think the good teams are the ones that are able to do both.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, here again, and I say this all the time, and I harp on it all the time, the rules of the game have changed, and the way that you acquire players has changed. You don't have to like it, but if you're going to be competitive, you're going to have to participate with it or you're going to get left behind. So, I don't always agree with everything that's done, but when you make rule changes and the rule changes affect everybody and it's all legal and on the table, you got to fix that and you got to take advantage of it.
You do, and they're trying to put up some guardrails to prevent kids from just jumping from one school to the other each and every year. We'll see if, they cut out the red shirt rule, how many transfers they allow. I mean, it's going to depend on the individual, and it's going to depend on the program. I think probably most coaches don't want to continue to rebuild their roster each and every year built up of transfers. Again, I think it's a good thing to enhance your roster, and to, like you said, to fill in the roster with certain positions that maybe have not been as strong as that you would hope for. But you don't want guys that are just jumping around just for the sake of jumping around and taking the money. Maybe that's more prevalent at the Division I level. We'll see how much success that has. But, I think at the Division II level, it's got to be almost a combination of getting kids in the transfer portal and developing young players. And you got to do that with a nice balance with a coaching staff that can do both, and I think those are the ones that are the most successful.
I think you're exactly right, and that's what it is. It's I just think you have to utilize all tools that are available to make you a better team. If you're not being fair to the kids that are there. Well, some people say, well, you're not being fair to the kids that you recruited. Well, if they can't measure up and play to that level, then you still can't let your team as a whole down because you recruited them and brought them in and they didn't develop.
Yeah. I think some of the coaches will say if you get a player that comes in at age 18 or 19, if they're willing and patient enough to develop on a little bit on their own as well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have the patience to go all the work through the workouts and develop yourself, and then become a viable option as a person to get playing time in your late in your sophomore year, if not junior year,
mm-hmm.
like the old-fashioned way.
Right.
I think maybe some kids come in and they want to see immediate playing time, and if they don't get it, then they opt out and get out of there and go in the portal.
But that's on them as far as I'm concerned, because
Sure.
I've always said if you can play, you can play. And if you can play, there's not a coach out there that's not going to play you and if you can contribute to the team. It just doesn't work that way. Every coach wants to win, and they want the best product they can put on the field. So if you can play, they're going to play you. But if you can't really fault them if they're going to find another way to kind of make that happen. Let me ask you another thing. I saw this pop up on Facebook yesterday, and you may have some information about it. One of the biggest events for Lenore Ryan Athletics is coming up with the Hanley Painter Golf Tournament. You got any information on that?
Yeah, it comes up on homecoming weekend here. It's October 17th, which
mm-hmm.
is a Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Shotgun starts, 2 starts, one at 8 o'clock, one at 1 o'clock. And it raises money for scholarships. It's the biggest fundraiser that we have here with the Bears Club. It's the 37th annual. I don't know how many charity golf tournaments in this area have been around for 37 years, but they're players, LR alums, people in the community, foursomes. Just go online. I put a link. Go to my Facebook
mm-hmm.
page. You can find the link there and sign up. You can be a sponsor. You can sponsor a hole, sponsor a golfer, be a corporate sponsor, foursome, play individually, however you want to do it. They're taking registration right now. You can do it online, or to give us a call here at the Bears Club or at Lenore Ryan.
Well, I know when I went to the link, I didn't get any. It was more of a form for somebody to contact you. It didn't really give you all the opportunities. That's why I was a little curious about it.
Oh, I'll double check that.
Okay,
that was the link that I thought that.
That's the link that comes off the website too, off Lenore Ryan's website. When you go to events and you click on it, it just gives you an opportunity to get additional information, not something to where, okay, here's sponsorships that are available, here's what a foursome costs, here's, those kind of things. I thought there would have been a little bit more information, but I just want to bring it to your attention and let you check it out.
I'll do it, Lanny. Thank you very much for the insight, and thanks for the heads up.
And that's where I saw it yesterday, and that's why I wanted to kind of bring that up. Daniel Willis, thanks for watching this morning. Joan Bangle. What else you got going on, my friend?
But it's a busy game week as they get ready for the first night game. Traditionally LR has played a lot of night games down through the years. That's historically that's been the thing to do, but they got away from it over the last couple of years. This will be the first night game between the Bricks at Moret Stadium in almost 2 years, Lanny. So that should be exciting. Come Saturday night, kickoff at 6 o'clock. The gates kind of open for tailgating at 1 o'clock. The gates open to get inside the stadium at about 4 o'clock. So we're getting ready for that coming up on Saturday evening as the Bears take on Emory and Henry, a team that beat them last year, and I think maybe they got some payback on hand this week as well, coming up on Saturday night.
It's interesting, and it may have been you that told this story. It may have been Jack Huss that told this story. But the reason for the night games at LR, and I can remember night games at LR when I came through high school, back in our day. And what was always told was they had the night game so people could go to Chapel Hill or Raleigh and watch the other schools play, and usually had noon kickoffs, and then they could be back and catch an LR game that night.
That was what I was told. That's always the story I've always heard.
That's smart. I'll never forget when I was traveling with Appalachian, we went down to Troy, that team that about beat my Tigers, last weekend, because we didn't look real good. We went to Troy, and I bet there wasn't 2,500 people in the stadium, and we couldn't figure out, what was going on. So we asked one of the locals there, where's everybody at? You're going to like this, Juju. Well, there were 2 reasons there was nobody at the game. Reason number 1 was Alabama and Auburn were both at home. Okay? So a lot of people were there. Reason number 2, it was the first weekend of deer hunting.
Yeah.
That's where their fans were. So, anytime there's so much offering out there now that you're competing against all this different types of options you have for entertainment. And so positioning yourself where you make yourself the most available to anybody that you can is the best thing to do. I mean, everything is about adjusting so that you make your product accessible. And I think it's a great thing. Of course, I think a night game at Lenoir-Rhyne is a great thing. I like it much better than an afternoon game.
Absolutely.
Anything else, my friend?
That should do it, Lanny.
Okay.
Kick off again, 6 o'clock, not 7, but 6 o'clock on Saturday.
Okay. And our plan is we'll make this a weekly thing and probably stick around here. If it still works for you, we'll do a Thursday morning about 8:30 and be able to get folks on, and we'll get the video fixed and they can see your plush, well-lit office that you have now at Lenoir-Rhyne.
With a lot of LR gear behind me.
There you go.
Helmets and trophies and whatnot, everything, yes.
There you go. Have a good week, my friend. I appreciate you.
All right, Lanny. Thank you as always. We'll talk to you again, and go Bears.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. That's Juju Phillips. He is the voice of Lenoir-Rhyne and now over the Bears Club. Great product and a great university up there. We'll see you again next week. Mr. Rembert is out of town this week, so we'll try to get back on next Friday now that I got pieces coming together. In the meantime, have a great week. I'll see you again real soon. Take care.